All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders, a great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shatia from the Chicago camp coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And I just want to talk about Bad Uncle Esau's campaign to stoke this race war. Okay, if you haven't been paying attention to the news, we've had quite a few incidences, but the big three that come to mind are the recent cross burning here in Chicago, supposedly set by what looks like a so-called Asian man. Before that, you have the Edomite who opened fire on some Jakes having a party, a gathering, a get together, so we'll say. Okay, you got that incident, and then you got the incident with the Metcalf dude. All right, I don't know too much about it, but from what I've heard and could see, you know, this Metcalf guy's son, him and these other guys were being a bully to this one Jake. And then the nigga got shanked up. Metcalf's son got shanked up. And then turn to find out the guy's dad is pretty much buddy buddy with a lot of people who can make things happen in the judicial system. So, you got these three stories. Like I said, these are the three that stuck out the most. I mean, you have other things, but these things stick out. I mean, if you want to go even further, you have the situation that happened in Dublin not too long ago, where the people perceived that that this man, he was I forgot what country he was from, but nonetheless, uh, I think he might have been from the Congo, if my memory serves me correctly. But they perceived that he stole something, and then the security took him down, and they took his ass out George Floyd style. Uh, you also got going on, what's that, in Northern Ireland, in Belfast. All right, you got some immigrant that took out some Edomite in what they're calling damn near a beheading. And then, of course, you got this incident here uh, where Jake got taken out because I don't know if they was Moab or Ammon, like Japanese, probably Chinese, where they thought the dude was stealing water, and the guy came out and capped him. So, you got a lot of high profile racial incidences happening not only in the United States but around the world. And you can tell that Esau is really trying to get this thing going. All right. When you go to 2 Corinthians 2:11, and I've been getting this out a lot because when you understand the enemy and his end goal, the things that he does makes perfect sense. 2 Corinthians 2:11, it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Because you have to remember that this guy needs a reason to shut this whole thing down. Okay, he needs a reason for martial law. They need a reason to implement total totalitarian tactics. I didn't mean for that to be a tongue twister, but nonetheless, yes, this is what this guy is trying to do, and he can't do it if people are still trying to have hope. If people are still trying to hold on to a thread of human decency. Okay. He just can't do it. And so this is why you have all these events going down almost around the same time of each other. And the thing is, you have certain people who are ready. You know, you got a lot of Edomites out there saying that they're ready for the race war. They know that it's coming. You know, some of them actually understand that it is their own people screwing them over. But at the same time, they're like, you know what? Hey, if this gives me a chance to up them things on some jakes, they're going to do it. Okay, just because their own people are screwing them over, that doesn't mean that they're not going to take the opportunity to unleash that ancient hatred that they have for you tribes. Because you make no mistake, the things that have been coming out, it should be clearly obvious that this guy still does not love you Jakes. You have to remember, I think it's in I think it says for 3 transgressions, and he kept his wrath forever. Is that in Malachi? No, Amos. Amos 1 and 11. It says, thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity. Because you have to remember that this hatred that this devil has dates all the way back to when he gave up the blessing that his father gave him. All right. Bad Uncle Esau, the progenitor, the first Edomite, well, I won't say it that way. But if you can perceive who, I'll just say the progenitor of the Edomites. I'll just put it that way. I don't want to drift off on another topic, but nonetheless, okay, Esau, Edom, the progenitor of the Edomites, he gave away the blessing that Isaac blessed him with, who was really Yahweh Shai, if you can perceive that. Okay, and ever since that day, he's had this huge gripe with the tribes, trying to redeem a blessing that in actuality was never his to have. And because of that, he's always made sure that whenever he gets the chance, okay, he can put a Jake in the spirit world. Okay. He was ready to kill us when he gave up the blessing. All right. When we tried to go through his land, he came out in force. When we were battling the other nations, they made sure to be in league with the other nations to help them capture us by letting them know our secret pathways and tunnels. Okay, to the time of the Greeks with Alexander the Snake and the Romans. And then when that eventually they got taken down and then came back into power during the time of the Renaissance, okay, he's doubled down on it. When this guy got back into power during the time of the Renaissance to this modern day time, okay, he's doubled down on it. So as the scripture said, hey, he's pursued us with the sword, and he's cast off all pity. Okay, we've been hunted down mercilessly every single day. All right, whether it's by cops, whether it's by serial killers, sometimes both. Uh, both meaning that at the same time, and they are one and the same. All right, you're racist, malicious. All right, these organizations have been used and they have had no pity on you, Jakes. And it says, and his anger did tear perpetually and kept his wrath forever. Okay, has this man ever taken a break from having a foot in our ass? No, he is not. See, he understands that he gave away the blessing. See, this devil understands that he was not ruling for 1,000 years. His people were getting the brakes beat off of him for 1,000 years by the very same people that he despises. See, Bad Uncle Esau knows this history, and this is why he has that deep-seated hatred. And see, even though a lot of these low-level Edomites don't know it, the it meaning they don't know who they are and they may not know the history. It's just that spirit that's been passed down from generation to generation, because you got a lot of low-level Edomites out here that don't know that they're Edomites and don't know the history of what happened, all right, after Rome got taken down to the time of the Renaissance. But yet they still carry that ancient hatred, because that spirit of wickedness and hate, well, it's just passed down from generation to generation. And because of that, this devil can't wait to get this civil war going. And it's going to happen because it's been predicted and predestined in the scripture. When you go to 2nd Ezra 15, and I believe it's 16 or 17, where it says, for there shall, 2nd Ezra 15 and 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. I'm going to skip down to 19. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And it also goes into, when you read the book of Matthew, where it talks about in the last days, Matthew 24 and 7. I might have to start up. Matthew 24 and 6. I'm going to start at 6. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, not only global conflict, but civil wars, race wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Yes. Okay. Not only around the world, but also here in the United States. You will have different nations rising up against each other. Okay. And in these last days is going to be what? The two main characters of this story. The nation of Jacob, which is Israel, you 12 tribes, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, against our lifelong adversary and enemy, Bad Uncle Esau, the so-called white man. All right. It's going to be our nation against theirs. All right, the kingdom of Israel versus the kingdom of Edom. In that civil war, where, as we just read, men will be invading one another. There shall be sedition amongst men, violent uprising. Why is there going to be a violent uprising? Because this civil war has to happen. All right, these beginning of sorrows, these birth pains, this how do I word this? This conclusion of the divine script can't reach its climax without this civil war happening. Because, yeah, it's going to be a lot of people are going to be thinking this week that it's going to be open season on each other, not realizing that they're playing right into the elite's hands. Because as soon as this civil war pops off, all right, that means they have the authority to call martial law. They get to send foreign troops in. The Constitution is suspended, even though there's really not much of a Constitution left. But at least you can so-called fight with it right now. But with its martial law, the Constitution will be suspended. Okay, voting will be suspended. Whoever's in office, they will pretty much stay in office. Okay, you're talking about curfews, mandatory mandates. Okay, and ultimately, when people get tired of so much bloodshed and chaos and discomfort from this civil war, this race war that we are going to have in America, guess what? They're going to offer their solution for total control. So this race war is something that they've been trying to stoke the flames for quite some time. But in these past couple of years, especially after COVID, they've really been intensive. They've been trying to increase the intensity. That's how I should say it. They've really been trying to one up the previous incident, and it's going to happen because now you have people in a position where they are constantly uncomfortable with not being able to find a spouse, keep a house, get a car, have children, afford their rent, afford their mortgage, afford food, afford clothes, take a vacation, rest. All right, you put this daily life stress on a person on top of racial tension. It's only going to be a matter of time before it just spills over. Like, it has to just, all that rage, all that stress, it just eventually has to come out. All right, and when that happens, okay, America is going to be in a very bad position. All right, the people of America will be in a very pitiful case because the thing that they have tried so hard to prevent will finally come to pass. So that's all I wanted to say on this. I hope you all were edified. To the next time, we're going to say shalom.